I guess, a normal life.
Yeah. Who would ever thought that I would live to be 97?
Isn't that something?
Yes.
And you're
This,
doing so good. I mean,
the grandmother, Papa's mama, was 96 when she died.
okay.
But she had been blind for 20 years.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
Yeah. I can remember going down at Jonesfield, that's where Uncle Bill lived.
Yeah?
That house is still there.
Really?
And the walking stick is, this one is hers.
Wow.
Is it cut around, cut. I
Let's
lost the
take a
end
look at
of
it.
it.
Let's
And
look at
You need a
this.
tip.
it's a hickory stick.
Wow, how old would this be? Would this be like 50 years old or 100 years old or something? Or
Well, she was 96, so
dang,
uh,
that's an old stick.
Uncle Bill had a shop, and he sharpened his own plows,
Mm-hmm.
and he had a one-horse farmer,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess he had 3 or 4 acres of cotton and enough corn to feed his mule, and enough corn to grow some hogs.
Mm-hmm.
And but he was his first wife died, and then he married this woman from Carrollton, and she took care of Grandma good, but I don't think that their existence wasn't very good.
Mm.
Uh, but she Bill, my brother,
Mm-hmm.
he was real close to
Mm.
her because he was 3 years older than I was.
Okay.
She would talk to him about the way things were going,
Yeah.
but I don't know how she lived 20 years being blind, but she had a string, and she could tie different knots in that string and undo them.
Huh.
I used to watch it. Um, but that would be a job, was taking care of a blind person for that many years.
Yeah. That is a lot. So 90. Was she in her right mind?
Yes, the mine was good.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Did she use the string to get around? Like to know where she was, or?
All I can remember about her was when we were little, every summer, she would come stay a few days with us.
Right.
And then she was glad to get home, I think. Well,
I imagine if you're blind, you really want to stay in your normal environment because you kind of remember where everything is.
yeah,
I wonder how she went blind.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's all I knew was, see, Papa, let's see, uh, his first wife was, she had 2 girls. That's the one that, Christine was Bart something. He was a night watchman at one of the sewer plants, and she was a school teacher.
Oh.
Christine was, and she had a daughter,
Mm-hmm.
and then so something about that daughter was a little bit health wise, but I think she went on and did well. But the then after the war, you know, J.W. come back home and all the brothers come back home and they started that well drilling business.
Right.
And first Ralph went in with J.W. and then Jim went in with him.
Okay.
And that was it was good for everybody.
Yeah.
And J.W. come from Kentucky. He grew up in where the drill was all for oil.
Ah.
Them old fashioned drilling.
Uh-huh.
So he knew all about it.
Yeah.
And him and his brother, they were they were real close in age.
Mm-hmm.
Well, both of them knew how to drill.
Okay.
And then when they got in the Marine Corps and went to this island, that's what they did, was drilling wells.
Wow.
And so they come home and started that business, and it was good for them and good for Ralph and Jim too.
Right. And it's still there today. So,
Yeah.
and you know, you can hardly find somebody that does wells anymore. So, but people need it. I hear their wait list is like 6 months and stuff. It's hard to get people.
Well, I don't have any. I got some sandwich material if y'all.
Oh, we're fine. We had a little snack, and we don't want to tire you out too much either. Are you getting hungry?
No, I had no. The last week or so, I've had a good appetite. I'm thankful for that.
Yeah.
But I was. I've lost about 15 to 20 pounds,
Hmm.
and it was fluid.
Oh, wow.
So I think I got it back down to where I don't have any fluid on me now.
Well, good. Was that around your lungs or just through your legs and
It's the whole
everywhere?
body.
It's just everywhere.
Yeah.
Wow.
You but as long as you can eat and got something to eat and can move around, you're in pretty good shape.
I agree. I know. Well, you're doing good. I saw an article just recently about that. Basically, that to be able to stay in your own home as much as possible is a good thing.
Yeah.
So, and I know they can keep an eye on you with your cameras.
Yeah, that's some Mark hooked up all that fancy stuff.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Well, I know that makes them feel better. They can check on you.
Yeah. And Janet keeps an eye on it too.
Yeah.
And Alan's always around.
Yes. That's a good thing.
Yeah. But we don't know. We do know that things have changed a whole heap since we were born, hasn't it?
Even, yeah. Is it hard for you seeing all these crazy changes? Or do you just say, God knows what he's doing and I'm not going to worry about it?
Well, that's what you got to do and take care of your own business.
That's a good point.
And I guess you don't drink and you don't smoke and all that stuff, right?
No.
Do you eat pretty healthy?
Well, you wouldn't think so if you see them pills I take.
Oh. Well,
But I don't hurt.
Well, that's good.
It's like the boy in our Sunday school class. You know when growing up you had stars on your eye?
Mm-hmm.
mhm.
Well, his wife had one, and they took it off, and it's got infected,
Mm.
and she has been in some terrible pain.
Wow.
But we didn't. They just disappeared, didn't they? Best I could remember.
Yeah.
I remember scraping them off sometimes. I just use my fingernail and scrape them off. Probably not the most hygienic thing you could ever do, but it seemed to work. So,
And it didn't get infected, did?
nah, I was lucky it didn't get infected, I guess.
Well, I remember Mom talking about, they used to have to every spring and I guess fall have some castor oil. And, they say we don't have parasites, but I don't believe that anymore, In fact, it was interesting. The boys have a pediatrician that her own children had some health issues, so she started looking at some more natural things that she could do. And anyway, it sort of changed the way she practiced medicine, kind of going back to the way it used to be more. And she had a little girl. She works a lot with people who are autistic and have issues. So she had a little girl that couldn't talk. She was 4, but she still couldn't really speak. But every once in a while, the mom said she would just get so beside herself, she'd just scream like for hours, and just be really upset. So she gave her this sheet, and it had all these symptoms that she was supposed to track, and then she'd look at what she'd eaten and all that and the dates. And so she noticed after a few months that it was always around the full moon when this little girl would have these fits. So she treated her for parasites and it stopped. So anyway, she always tells that story just to let people know that, there's things going on that could be helped if people knew what to look for.
Mm-hmm.
So
We had worms went in the camp.
oh yeah, I bet.
And you think it'd kill you, but it didn't.
Yeah. Well, if you think about it, like the host, what do they call it? We studied this. I've been working as a parapro, and not this year, but last year I had some 7th graders for science, and they talked about like what is it called? There's like parasites. It can be symbiotic, or you know what I'm trying to say, Eric? Anyway, there's symbiotic and things that work with you, things that work against you, basically. And it's like the barnacles on a fish or a whale, and there's things that help get that off. And so anyway, we probably have things that we don't need. So